statements a day. I mean, just absolute, it was really unrealistic projection.
The Democratic Alliance says it is all systems go for its 2026 local government elections manifesto launch this coming Saturday. The DA is set to unveil its manifesto to thousands of its supporters at Mary Fitzgerald Square in the Johannesburg CBD. With the municipal polls scheduled for the 4th of November later this year, a number of political parties are gearing up for the election season to sway the electorate in their favor. DA leader Gordon Hill-Lewis will deliver the manifesto, while the DA's mayoral candidate Helen Zille will unveil her plan if she is to govern in Johannesburg. And speaking earlier, the DA's elections manager Ashore Sarupen had this to say.
We're holding this rally in Newtown, Johannesburg as an unequivocal statement of intent. We're in the heart of Johannesburg because we're targeting this metro and all metros in Gauteng as well as all metros across the country. When the blue machine descends on the Johannesburg city centre, it'll be a show of force that shows that we mean business. And our mayoral candidate, Helen Zille, will deliver one of the key addresses of this event, as will Katuchelo Rasilingwani of Ekurhuleni and Salias Brink of the city of Tshwane. All signs and publicly available polling shows that the DA's campaign is well on track and meeting its marks. This manifesto will be one of the high points in the campaign for us.
And finally, in news further afield, please note this following story contains distressing content and may be disturbing to sensitive listeners. In the United Kingdom, a young woman enrolled at the Army Foundation College at Harrogate in North Yorkshire have spoken up for the first time since sexual assault incidents over the past 5 years. A 17-year-old junior soldier expressed how she was raped by junior male soldiers for hours. It is understood that North Yorkshire police received 16 reports of sexual offences linked to the college this year. According to the Ministry of Defence, a total of 176 complaints of inappropriate sexual behaviour at the college were made between January 2018 and June 2025. 32 allegations were against permanent staff members and 144 against junior soldiers. Now, some of the victims spoke to BBC News.
They were like, "Do you want to come into the room?" And me, being a naive 17-year-old girl, was like, "Yeah, fine." They started taking my clothes off, and then this led to them doing stuff I didn't consent to. There were a lot of them. They touched me in places, made inappropriate comments, calling me a thing rather than a girl, and then I was raped by multiple junior soldiers the same age as me. It went on for hours. I felt like a piece of meat. They raped me over and over again. After it happened, I heard an instructor going around saying, "Have you heard about that slag who shagged all those blokes?" Coming from an instructor, it's just wrong. It sends out the wrong message about women, and it teaches boys this attitude that we're only good for one thing.
He trapped me in the room. He stood against the door so I couldn't get out. He then pushed himself up against me and started kissing my face and touching me all over. He sexually assaulted me. Just to push him off. I'm not sure how, because he's really strong.
What happened to me, I believe, has happened before and will happen there again if something isn't done to change the culture.
The rand is trading at 16 rand at 34 cents to the US dollar, 21 rand and 98 cents to the pound sterling, and 18 rand 83 cents to the euro. Gold is trading at $4,248.43 per fine ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $81.70 a barrel. And now for a look at tomorrow's weather for Gauteng. Temperatures will range between 5 and 22 in Johannesburg, 6 and 23 in the capital, and Vereeniging will see temperatures ranging between 2 and 22 degrees Celsius. If you missed it, let's recap the top story in Power News at this hour. The African National Congress in KwaZulu-Natal has described the killing of the party's eThekwini Ward 17 councillor Sibusiso Khwela as a brutal assassination. Now, Khwela was shot and killed in Durban earlier this afternoon.
Now taking to your roads and your power traffic, the N1 northbound ahead of the Albertina Sisulu Road exit is an earlier accident. Delays are currently peaking at 30 minutes. Anticipate delays on the M1 northbound after the 11th Avenue ramp due to an earlier incident. Some bumper-to-bumper traffic with delays peaking there at 15 minutes on the N3 southbound after Linksfield Road. There's slow-moving traffic leading you into the Gululis interchange.
Power News. Power to the courageous souls, the spiritual teleporters, their voice, future leaders, while shaping leaders' futures all in a day's work. Leaders in all ranks, the ground shaker, the ground breaker. We say power to you, the 98.7. Now we're talking. You're listening to Power Business on Power 98.7. Monday to Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. Taking your calls on 0861 987 000.
That was Mango Groove with Special Star, because tonight we are stars. This is a voice you won't recognize. Nosipo, we aren't coming for your jobs, don't worry. Just for Power Business, Power 987 Woman Edition Takeover, they let Nomfundo Vilakazi, our People and Culture Director from Dis-Chem, and myself, Megan de Vroeg, the CMO, take over the airwaves. I did say to them, they are very brave to let non-professionals on air. So I hope this is a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy talking to us. Over to Nomfundo to intro herself.
Thank you, Meg. DJ Megs. Hi, listeners. My name is Nomfundo Vilakazi, and yes, I am the People and Culture Director for Dis-Chem, the people's person. Well, Nosipo, I don't know, hey? And maybe after this show, we need to have a conversation. But for all the listeners, welcome to the Power Business session today. Today, Megan and I are going to share some insightful topics. We're going to have good speakers that are going to join us today, tackling some very interesting topics. But before we get there, Pumi is on standby on markets.
Momentum is back with Season 8 of She Owns Her Success. This year's theme, Her Success Has a Number, unpacks how most financial goals don't fall short because we lack ambition. They fall short because they're too vague. Register now for the workshop on 15 August 2026 at momentum.co.za and get expert advice to help you define your number. Join the conversation online using hashtag She Owns Her Success. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized and registered credit provider.
Power Markets.
welcome Pumelela Ndo, the client director at Excelsior Capital. We're going to be getting a market update from her. Let's start with the Rand and the JSE. How did the JSE's all-share index close at the end of today's trading session? And which sectors, stocks or market developments were the biggest drivers of the index's performance?
Good evening, ladies, and thank you, Megan, for the question. But before I answer the questions, Megan, your company owes me a lot of money. I'm glad Roy's here.
Oh, gosh. And he's standing right outside because he's our next guest.
My husband's right outside. You know, it's my birthday on Saturday, and they say a woman now, if your woman's like that time of the month or she's having a bad day, get a hot wings and a voucher from Dis-Chem.
Okay.
Yeah, my husband calls it, oh, you forgot something, didn't you? You suddenly remembered you need the collagen, then you need your eye mask, and then you need but anyway, we'll talk, you owe me money. But yeah, so the JSE finished quite flat. Trading volumes are light at 24 billion. Investors are cautious due to US economic data being released tomorrow. SAPI was our standout performer due to strong trading results. And then tech was quite weak, and this is Naspers and Prosus, really due to profit taking after a huge rally. And this comes after concerns due to advertising and gaming revenue in China. Your platinum, resources and gold counters are down due to pressure from the dollar, and despite gold trading at $4,260 US dollars per ounce, investors are also taking profits after a strong rally. So you're seeing a rotation into defensive stocks and quality stocks.
And how's the Rand measured up against the US dollar during today's trading session? What have been those key factors that have been influencing the currency's performance?
Yeah, so the Rand actually traded between 16 Rand 30 and 16 Rand 40 against the dollar, showing resilience despite US Treasury yields remaining elevated at around 4.62%. The main support came from higher precious metals. As I said, they're actually priced against the dollars, which means that they are quite expensive and improve South Africa's export earnings, together with continued investor demand from South African bonds, giving the country's relatively attractive real interest rates. At the same time, there are concerns over disruptions through the Strait of Hormuz, but there are also improved global sentiments that are benefiting the emerging market currency. The Rand does remain highly sensitive to US monetary policy, so we definitely need to watch out for the US data the US economic data being released tomorrow.
Let's move on to the oil prices now. Oil prices have steadied after several days of declines. What are markets signaling about the proposed shipping arrangement through the Strait of Hormuz, and how much geopolitical risk is still being priced into crude?
So Brent has steadied at around $80 per barrel, suggesting markets believe that a probability of a severe supply disruption has diminished, and this is also due to the Middle East becoming involved. So 20% of global oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz, making it one of the world's most important energy choke points. But the proposed shipping arrangements have reassured markets that exports can continue, reducing the sharp geopolitical premium that pushed prices higher. As South Africans, we can also see this because Wednesday we all were able to our fuel tanks rather were able to see full tank after a very long time. So traders have not removed geopolitical risk entirely. Ongoing tanker incidents in both the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea mean crude still carries a modest geopolitical premium, and prices still remain vulnerable to any escalation.
Thanks so much. I think it's just going to 1820, so we are going to have to head over to Power Traffic with Refilwe Matsile. Let's go, Power Traffic.
Power Traffic.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. We start start off on the N1 northbound ahead of the Albertina Sisulu Road exit. An earlier accident is still contributing to some heavy traffic there. Budget 40 minutes to your travel time. The M1 northbound, it's a 25-minute long delay due to an earlier incident after the 11th Avenue exit. Along the M1 southbound, there's queuing traffic with a 10-minute long delay for power traffic. I am Fiwe Matsela.
Power traffic.
This Women's Month, Power 987 proudly presents Women of Vision, a celebration of women whose leadership continues to shape business, government, society, and our nation. Join us from the 6th to the 7th of August as Women of Power take over the station. Hashtag 987 Women of Vision is proudly brought to you in partnership with the South African National Defence Force, Gauteng Department of Economic Development, Momentum, and the Department of Human Settlements. Hashtag 987 Women of Vision. Now we're talking.
And yes, I am a millionaire. And then you'd be on the couch with your 6 numbers. But the 7 is for heaven, or yes. But 4 is for the door, or yes. But 38 is never too late, or yes. But the lottery draws are back. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Extra live draw at 9 p.m. The National Lottery. No wins, no counts. Here's my please watch. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
Power 987 celebrates women who lead with vision.
987 Women of Vision.
Now we're talking.
We're back with Puma and Doe with the market update. So far, what she's told us is good for her because she wants to spend more money with us at Dis-Chem. I am Megan, the CMO, so I'm very happy about that. Let's move on to the gold. Gold inches upwards. Gold has extended its rally as lower oil prices have eased inflation concerns. So how's the shift in expectations around interest rates influenced demand for the precious metal?
So gold continues to benefit from changing interest rate expectations. Lower oil prices have eased inflation concerns, leading investors to believe central banks could have greater flexibility to reduce interest rates over time. We've actually also seen the China Central Bank buy more gold. So lower rates really reduce the opportunity cost of holding gold because it pays no yield, making the metal more attractive. Although gold is benefiting from, like I said, the central bank in China has been buying it, and persistent geopolitical uncertainty helps lift the prices above your 4,150 US dollars per ounce.
While optimism around the Straits of Hormuz has improved sentiment in energy markets, gold continues to gain. What does that tell us about investor positioning and the broader outlook for safe haven assets?
It suggests investors are hedging rather than taking excessive risk. While equity markets have become more constructive, institutional investors continue increasing exposure to gold as protection against geopolitical risk. Inflation surprises. It did surprise us at coming in at 5%, and also policy uncertainty. We're not sure, with Trump thinking about sanctions and also what his thoughts are on tariffs. So with all of those uncertainty, this tells us that markets remain optimistic, but they are not complacent.
Let's move on to some business news. So Sappi's losses widen amid scheduled Ngondwana mill maintenance. What drove Sappi's wider June quarter loss, and how much of the weakness was linked to the Ngondwana mill maintenance shutdown?
So the wider loss was largely expected because of the planned maintenance shutdown at the Ngondwana mill, which reduced production volumes while increasing maintenance costs. However, there are broader industry challenges. Packaging and specialty paper markets remain oversupplied, particularly in North America, placing pressure on pricing. Management has highlighted elevated leverage of around 6 times net debt to EBITDA, although a covenant waiver remains in place until March 2027. And while Somerset Mill PM2 ramping up and maintenance costs also set to ease.
With the Somerset Mill PM2 ramping up and those maintenance costs set to ease, how much improvement can SAPI expect in that final quarter?
Management's outlook is cautiously optimistic. They expect third quarter adjusted EBITDA to remain broadly in line with previous quarter, supported by strong dissolving wood pulp demand from the textile industry. As maintenance costs normalize and the mill continues wrapping up, North American volumes should improve. However, investors will continue watching three issues: weak packaging pricing, new dissolving wood pulp supply coming from Asia, and progress on your regulatory approval of SAPI's planned joint venture.
And then SpaceX attracts retail buyers after post-earnings share dip. How have they done that? That strong retail investor interest after falling following its first earnings reports as a public company. What is driving those investors to buy the dip?
Retail investors appear to be looking beyond the short-term earnings disappointment and focusing on SpaceX's long-term growth story. Following the first earnings report as a listed company, retail investors bought at net $22.7 million of SpaceX shares in the first hour of trading. So you owe me money. And making it one of the strongest retail buying sessions since the IPO. Investors remain attracted to the company's dominant position in commercial launches and Starlink, even though heavy AI-related capital expenditure of more than 18 billion did raise concerns about near-term profitability.
What is the retail appetite for SpaceX shares? Tell us about investor sentiments towards high-growth technology and space companies, despite that short-term volatility.
It actually shows that retail investors remain willing to buy into companies with strong long-term structural growth, even after sharp share price declines. The market is effectively looking through short-term earnings, volatility, and focusing instead of future cash flow potential of AI infrastructure, satellite communications, and commercial space. It also highlights the difference between institutional investors who are more concerned on valuation and spending, and retail investors who continue to favor long-term duration growth stories.
SoftBank beat first quarter profit estimates, helped by a big gain on its Intel stake and a rise in ByteDance's value. What does that say about the strength of its investment portfolio right now?
So SoftBank's results demonstrate the strength of its diversified technology portfolio. Net profit exceeded expectations, supported by a 1.3 trillion Japanese yen, which is about $8.2 billion. And on this gain, it's on Intel investment and further uplift in ByteDance of 358 billion Japanese yen. So the results reinforce SoftBank's significant exposure in AI and high growth technology, and the company continues to benefit from improving valuations across several strategic investments.
Even with the better than expected result, profit was still down year on year, and the Vision Fund was far less buoyant than in the previous quarter. How should investors read the outlook for SoftBank from here?
So investors should remain constructive but realistic. While the earnings beat was encouraging, profits still declined about 18% year on year, and the Visions Fund contribution was less robust than in previous quarters. So the key question is whether SoftBank can convert its AI investments into sustainable long-term returns. The CEO, Son, has doubled down on AI, including a major commitment to OpenAI. So future performance will really depend less on once-off valuation gains and more on successful execution of that long-term strategy.
Thank you so much, Pume, for the update. I must let the listeners know that our boss and CEO is sitting in the studio watching us as we do this market update. He is also going to be the person that we are interviewing next, and we are very excited to have him in the hot seat, aren't we, Nomfundo?
You know what, Megan? I'm very worried about work tomorrow because I feel like there's an exam. right? And I think there's a glossary that we need to get here so we are able to just respond to all that Pumia said.
Yeah. I'm also worried about my job, because I said Dis-Chem is very expensive, and he said yes, we're trading at a very high multiple.
Hey, getting us in trouble there. It's gone 18:29 and we are heading to Power News with Zwelibanzi Mazibuko.
Thank you. A very good evening. In news-making headlines at this hour, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has described the killing of the party's eThekwini Ward 17 councillor Sibusiso Kwela as a brutal assassination. Kwela was shot and killed in Durban earlier this afternoon. And speaking to Power News, the ANC's KZN spokesperson Sfiso Sanjinqa had this to say.
We are calling on the police to leave no stone unturned in bringing those who killed Councillor Kwela into book, and we are asking the communities to work with and assist the police so that the cowardice killers of Councillor Kwela are brought to book as soon as possible. We are also condemning the continuing killing of public representatives, especially as we're going towards the local government elections.
In other news, the head of investigations and operations at IDEC, Matthews Sisoko, has confirmed at the Madanga Commission of Inquiry that former IDEC head, Advocate Andrea Johnson, handled the Fadil Adams referral entirely on her own and never consulted him. Sisoko exposed major structural bypassed protocols, communication failures and unilateral decisions that were made by Johnson regarding the controversial crime intelligence investigations. And finally, cold weather conditions are expected to grip large parts of the country over the weekend, with heavy rainfall expected around Gauteng, Limpopo and Mpumalanga from Sunday up until Tuesday. With rainfall expected to lead to flooding, citizens have been urged to be cautious on the roads as well as rivers.
We are expecting quite significant rainfall amounts from Sunday up until Tuesday. I think besides the snow that everyone's excited about, one of the biggest risks will be flooding. So people should always look at the latest forecast and follow the official impact-based warnings by the South African Weather Service. Then motorists should avoid unnecessary travel through affected mountain passes, and they should never cross flooded roads or low water bridges.
More details on these and other stories at the top of the hour.
A quick glance at your roads. The N1 northbound ahead of the Albertina Sisulu Road exit. An earlier accident is still causing heavy traffic. On the M1 southbound, anticipate queuing traffic with a 10-minute long delay. The M1 northbound, an earlier incident after the 11th Avenue ramp is causing queuing traffic with a 10-minute long delay. Protea Glen on the N12 heading westbound ahead of the R558. You can anticipate some bumper-to-bumper traffic there due to no traffic lights at that intersection.
Yes, people, if you're in the market for a car, listen up. Hatfield Motor Group is bringing the heat with the Hot Deals Festival. Don't miss out on the hottest deals on vehicles on our floors, with serious value and offers worth talking about. Plus, join us for Test Drive Saturdays with entertainment, family fun, and unbeatable vibes. Go and feel the heat at any Hatfield Motor Group dealership. Visit hatfieldgroup.co.za for more info.
Hatfield Motor Group, rated number 1 in service.
Is over.
This Women's Month, Power 987 celebrates extraordinary women leaders in society.
The 2026 987 Women of Vision. Now we're talking. You're listening to 987 Women,
celebrating incredible women of vision.
Welcome back to Power Business, Power 987 Woman Edition. This is the takeover, so just remember this is not Nosipo, clearly. But I am not coming for your job. I don't think so yet. We'll chat to Neo. You are with Megan de Vroeg the CMO of Dis-Chem, and Mfundo Vilakazi, our People and Culture Director. We'd love for you to engage with us tonight. So just a reminder that you can call us on the studio line, 0861 987 000. You can WhatsApp us on 083 303 7093. You can X us at Power987. Please X, WhatsApp, call in. We'd love to engage with you. We'd love to talk with you. And we have an awesome guest in studio. I must say that because he's my boss. So I need to say that he's amazing and wonderful. He is the CEO of Dis-Chem Pharmacies. I just wanted to tell a little story quickly around the idea of a boss. When I became CMO, my 5-year-old said to me, I have 5-year-old twins, love them. She said, "Mommy, does that make you the boss of everyone?" And I looked at her and I said, "No, my sweetie, the boss of everyone is Roy." But I was happy she thought I could be. Roy, it's really, really nice to have you in studio. We're also going to be running a competition. So we have a 1,000 Rand Dis-Chem voucher to give away. If you would like that voucher, all you have to do is when we tell you in the second half of the show, you need to call in. You need to let us know, though, what you've learned, what you've heard. So you really do need to listen and see if you get any nuggets. So listen out for that, and you can win a 1,000 Rand Dis-Chem voucher. Welcome, Roy.
Thank you, DJ Megs. And Nomfundo, I own the Dex Vilakazi.
Oh, my word.
Isn't that what you said on the side?
Like Roy.
Sorry.
I need you to behave right now.
Okay.
Roy, I mean, when Megan and I got this opportunity and we were asked to think quite broadly around how we are going to engage and open up some Q&A with our key speakers, I think the thing that stood out for us was around the partnership that we've seen between people and culture, marketing and branding. So the theme is partnership, like that's where we're going to start. And when you think about leadership today, what does it mean to lead through partnership rather than authority, and why has that become so important right now?
So, yeah, I mean, I suppose there's many ways to answer that question. I think generally leading through partnership rather than authority creates an environment for individual skill sets to kind of surface.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you think about the concept of leading through authority, you naturally kind of suppress, different thoughts, different ideas, and it's from my perspective, quite a selfish way to lead. I think when there is partnership, there's also an acceptance that ultimately there's a single decision that needs to be made. But collaboratively, when you arrive at that decision and everyone understands that they've contributed and why a decision is made, I certainly think leading through partnership is a lot more sustainable than authoritative type leadership styles.
I love that. And I mean, we in Dis-Chem talk a lot about this concept of trust, right? Every leader talks about it. I mean, I think it's one of the most important things, whether it's a customer or it's an employee or any other individual or an investor. But it's often tested when times are tough. And during periods of uncertainty or rapid change, how do you maintain confidence amongst our employees, our heroes, our customers, the shareholders, and everybody that's looking at Dis-Chem as a growth organization?
Yeah, again, not an easy question. I'm actually taking notes of how tough these questions are.
But yes, we have you in the seat for this time.
I was going to say, but I think again, it's the concept of trust is something that I think resonates with sustainability. So, if you encourage a platform that ensures that people understand why you do what you're doing, like if you keep reminding everyone of the purpose, you're almost describing the future. And Megs and yourself and myself, we often speak about this concept of the chief repeat officer. And
you went there, and that was going to be my next question, but it's okay, Roy.
But we work closely together, so I knew it was going to be your next question. But the concept of a chief repeat officer is so important because, just reminding everyone of the direction, the purpose, to me that delivers a level of trust that is so important. And when there is trust, again, just my personal perspective, when there is a lot of trust, you spend far less energy on kind of getting people across the line as to what direction you need to go into, especially when there's huge moments of change, which is what we're experiencing today.
Yeah. And how often do you find yourself reflecting maybe at night around the things that you've repeated every single day? Like, how often do you find yourself repeating something in a day?
A lot, especially
To
since
Megan, eh?
to Megan a lot. No, especially since
really.
it's been like it's not a natural thing to do. You know, like if you think about our brand and like our ambitions to kind of disrupt an industry, to shape an industry, to deliver care to millions of people, increase access and reduce cost. Like you want to move forward, and sometimes it feels counterintuitive that you keep saying the same things, but Megs often reminds me that, I might have thought about it, or we might have thought about it 100 times. Someone, at a store might have heard it for the first time. A customer might not have ever experienced it. So, initially it was frustrating, if I'm honest, but now I actually count the number of times I repeat it, and it almost becomes like a reflection of how good a day it was. Because the other way to think about it is, for every time you've said it, maybe another person has heard it.
Like the bar is to know how often you've repeated something.
What's so nice though is when you actually start to hear people play it back to you, right? And when other people become your chief repeat officer, because you've told it, and they get that opportunity to tell that same story, because we're chasing the same purpose, and that's super
exactly.
cool.
I mean, like it was. I mean, we've obviously just had some of our leadership summits, and initially when we launched the concept of like delivering strategy through that medium or through that channel. I carried a lot of the weight to deliver strategy, and now I speak a lot less. And when other people say it, and the way that you described it, it's so fulfilling. And it is a function of how many times you've repeated it. And in repeating it, sometimes it becomes clearer to yourself as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also important maybe to just share to our listeners a bit around this integrated healthcare strategy that we always talk about. And we've made that, that jump, that transition, moving from a pharmacy retailer into an integrated healthcare provider. Like that kind of transformation, it truly doesn't happen overnight. Like I can remember the moments where you started to land the message in the organization, and probably we were not listening, but I guess it's important to listen now.
But I repeated it.
You did repeat it, right? Like what did that require from you as a leader?
The change, I suppose, like firstly as a leader, to deliver or to change slightly the brand direction, not the intricacies of the brand, not the way that the brand was built, but to make the brand more relevant for healthcare delivery in South Africa, it required a lot of building. And what I mean by building is, like an integrated healthcare provider, you need an ecosystem. So you need to be able to think about your stores and your pharmacies and your clinics slightly differently. You need to grow that network. But at the same time, you also need to develop financial products, that are structured, or that allow you to structure the benefits of those financial health products, like medical insurance and life insurance, to push people through the ecosystem so that you can give them access to dignified and quality care, but you route them seamlessly and frictionlessly through the ecosystem. So like what I described there seems relatively simple, but the building blocks to put it together are hard. And sometimes, when you're building something like that, you don't necessarily see the vision. Well, certainly people in the ecosystem don't see the vision. And then when it starts to land, like to describe that vision, like to repeat it, specifically to get people to buy into it and to believe in it is a very, very difficult thing.
Like something is coming to mind, like right now, like often when you think about the strategy and where we're going and how often you're needing to, share it, whether internal or external, like at this point, do you find yourself in it, or do you find yourself outside of it and observing how it orchestrates? Are you in? And in means, are you still experiencing it with our employees? Are you still trying to channel more around what it is, or are you outside of it observing now and seeing how that is starting to shape and weave through?
So a little bit of both, I think. I think I always describe myself or my job as like an orchestration type job. I mean, initially the building piece is like, do we have the assets, do we have the businesses to enable this change in brand direction, to really do justice to the brand purpose. And when you're building something, you're in it. I guess as you guys know, I think in pictures. So if I had to imagine the way that I try and orchestrate, or the way that I try and ensure that we move in the right direction, I do see myself in the middle of the picture, trying to make sure that things are moving in the right direction alongside all of our leadership. It's just not in our nature, as you know, to sit above or alongside. I think it's a typical type of personality that is required to do the things we do. But there is definitely a level of orchestration, but it's definitely in, as opposed to outside.
Okay, I finally got my answer. I mean, I'm enjoying this conversation. I don't know about you, Megan, but I think it's also important that we're mindful that our leaders are either making their way home, they're traveling, or they're sitting now listening, and they've also tuned in. So I think we need to just move over, transition to Power Traffic.
Power Traffic.
Fantastic, and a very good evening. Thank you, ladies. If you are battling traffic on the N1 northbound ahead of the Albertina Sisulu Road exit, it's actually a truck that has lost its trailer and losing its load on the highway. Delays are still peaking at 30 minutes during that clear-up operation. Anticipate delays on the M1 southbound between the Killarney Bend and the Crown Interchange. The M1 northbound anticipates some slow-moving traffic, about a 10-minute long delay taking you up towards the Woodmead Drive exit. Anticipate delays where traffic lights aren't functioning this evening. That's out in Cosmo City at Malabongwe in South Africa, Roodepoort at Christian de Wet and Paul Kruger, Christian de Wet and Blueberry, out in Sandton at Greyston and Catherine, in Marlborough at the N3 South in Marlborough, in Calvin at Old Pretoria and Woodmead. Remember to treat those intersections as four-way stops. For Power Traffic, I am Kofilwe Matsila.
Power Traffic. The 2026 987 Women of Vision.
Power 987 celebrates extraordinary women leaders in society.
Miss Lepaharati, your figures have been sort of rounding up to around 5,000 allocation that you do per financial year or something like that. Can you take us through what are you able to accommodate? But how are we doing with this program?
Minister, I must say the program has grown exponentially well. And for the previous 2 financial years, we have exceeded our targets with more than 200%. And currently in this financial year, Minister, we're just on target. And as you said, please give us more money so we can assist South Africa.
I call her, I invite her to my show. I'm saying she asked for more money.
Celebrating incredible women of vision.
The 2026 987 Women of Vision. Now we're talking.
Power 987 celebrates women who lead with vision.
987 Women of Vision. Now we're talking.
You are back with Power Business 987 Woman Takeover. We have taken over Nosipo's show, hence the music in our show. We're with Nomfundo Vilakazi, my co-host for the evening, the People and Culture Director for Dis-Chem. I am Megan, the CMO of Dis-Chem. That song that was played by the late Zahara, Brand New Day, is actually a really special song for me. So when I worked in Khayelitsha, we taught Tanjip youth to make movies on cell phones. It was around 2011, so this was before TikTok and all of the sort of boom in the creator economy. But we kind of just knew that young people had so much to offer the country, and so we ran this NGO. And I used to play this song every day driving into Khayelitsha on Spine Road, because a young guy, Samkelile Kalamashi, introduced her to me. And this used to just inspire me every day and give me so much hope. So I wanted to play that for everyone. And on that note, I think one of the reasons that Roy, our CEO, who we are interviewing now, Nomfundo and I, have a really, really great partnership is because we put people at the center of everything we do. We all really, really believe in that, so much so that we call our employees our priority customers. We make sure that we listen to them through our culture formula. And so I just kind of wanted to highlight that partnership. And Nomfundo, I thought maybe we could chat a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that's quite an important piece for any organization. And I mean, Roy, you speak a lot around, where we place our employees in terms of how we drive our strategy and the things that we invest on. And maybe you can just share to the listeners, like, what does being a priority customer mean in Dis-Chem and why?
Sure. So I think many reasons why we talk about our employees as priority customers. I think even though like we're relatively ambitious and audacious around our brand purpose, I think as much as the world can digitize, as much as we can use AI, certainly in healthcare services, ultimately much of what we do is human led, and the way that we think about that necessitates us to invest in our staff and our employees as much, if not more, than we invest in facilitating change as we think about reshaping the industry. So Meg's touched on it, but I think when I took the seat, I guess that's what you call it. I didn't literally take the seat. I sat in my own seat,
you
my
are
normal
in
seat.
their hot seat.
Yeah.
Hot seat.
But one of the things that I needed to ensure was that like people that worked in the organization believed in this purpose, in what we were trying to do. And that really started this process and investment around culture. And as we thought about culture, then it was very, very obvious that, we have individuals who work in our organization who have incredible insights, who are incredibly responsible to deliver our brand purpose, and they are the most valuable thing that we can invest in, and hence the concept of priority customer. If we're going to invest in our people, they're going to ultimately live the brand purpose, they're going to deliver the directional change of the brand, but more importantly they're also customers, and they're going to give us incredible insights into what we can do better and what we need to improve.
While we're in conversation with Roy, our CEO, I just wanted to remind everyone that you can call in on 0861 987 000 and stand a chance to win. Sorry, I never told you this before the show, that I was giving away vouchers. You can stand to win 1,000 Rand. You can stand to win 1,000 Rand Dis-Chem voucher. 1,000 Rand Dis-Chem voucher up for grabs. But you need to tell us a little bit about what you've heard, what we've said, so some nuggets. Please call in, though. We'd love to chat to you.
So, I mean, Roy, culture is quite a significant thing for us in Dis-Chem, and we've shaped it, using voices and inputs from 22,000 people. What does having a culture formula for the organization or the group that we have our size mean for you, and what do you see in that in terms of how we make decisions?
I think, like, at its simplest, a culture formula becomes a decision-making framework. I mean, we speak a lot about it, but culture is basically the entirety of the organization saying, this is what we need to do more of, this is what we need to do less of. And they're very, very simple things. And as a leader, like, it starts to inform the way you think about everything. So, I mean, you guys would know, but one of the things that our organization wants to do less of is the concept of gossiping. Such a simple thing. But how, as leadership, do you take that kind of principle into every single decision that you make? A thing that they want us to do is to reward and recognize. Again, very simple thing. And almost what initiated this concept of priority customer and how we reward our customers being our employees and our priority in the decisions that we make. So to me, it's just, as simply speaking, like a decision framework. You know, everything that we do as leaders, we test against the culture formula. If it doesn't make sense, we're making the wrong decision. If it does, it means we're moving our brand purpose just a little bit further along every single day.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. And it looks like we do have a caller on the line that has been listening. So I think we're going to take that call from Nelly Siwe. Do we have?
Hi, good evening.
Evening, Nelly
Hi,
Siwe.
Nelly.
First, I have to ask you a question. Are you a Dis-Chem
Yes.
customer? In order to win the competition, you have to be.
Awesome. I am 100%.
Cool.
Talk to us.
Okay, so what I was saying is, I was just listening now to the fact that you guys are saying that for you, your employees are like your priority customers, and I just thought, wow, that is so enlightening for me, because I've never looked at it that way. That, you know, and it's true though, because if employees feel valued, if they feel that they add value to the brand, then their behavior as well will show. You know, they put the effort, and I think I do get that sense in when I'm shopping in Dis-Chem, that everyone is so invested. You know, if I'm looking for my multivite, everyone is like so invested at trying to help me, give me the different options of what will help. So I think it's because they know that they add value, and that they treat it like that. And I just think it's so important. So that was good to hear.
Oh, Nelly Siwe, thank you so much. We really appreciate that, because people are at the center. We do believe they're priority customers. Nomfundo actually holds me accountable
every day,
which I'm always very grateful for. And she reminds me that, Megan, our priority customers come first. They have to find out everything first. They have to use our products first. So that's something that's really important to us. So we're so glad that comes through, because they're so important to our brand.
That resonated with me.
And Nelly Siwe, you were the first caller in, which means you do get the 1,000 Rand Dis-Chem voucher. So enjoy interacting with our green-hearted people. Please tell them that you spoke to us on air. And
I will do, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if the team has anything else they want to say.
Give them a hug.
No.
Yeah, give them a hug if you're a hugger.
Yeah, if you're a hugger, give them a hug.
They're wearing a green heart. Do you want to maybe say more about that, eh?
Well, the green heart kind of represents everyone who chases down the same purpose. So if you see a green heart in store, I guess it's a reminder of someone trying to contribute to the improvement of healthcare delivery in South Africa. So that deserves a hug, I think.
Wow.
But I'm biased.
That deserves a hug. Thank you so much, Nelly Siwe, and thanks so much for calling us.
Roy, before we let you go, one more interesting question. A priority customer, integrated healthcare strategy equals employee well-being. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think basically for me it means like our employees understand the purpose of our brand. We prioritize them in the decisions that we make, and in doing that we get incredible insights, and the employees get incredible rewards. And I think that ultimately, very simply, kind of describes the formula that I've never actually heard from you, but is actually very, very simple and makes so much sense.
Yeah, you cannot throw shade like that. You can't do that, Roy. You can't do that. And just one more thing, because I mean, like Megan and I are here, and I mean it's Women's Month. Women's representation in leadership continues to improve. What are your thoughts around how women are shaping what the work that we're doing and what we're building in Dis-Chem?
So I think it goes back to that principle of partnership. Like if you stay true to the concept of partnership, then you need to surround yourself with different individuals, different genders, different races, because you get different views. And I mean, you know, if you're completely honest with yourself, women bring elements to the decision-making process that are incredibly beneficial. You know, different perspective, different angles. Typically, they're actually better at being customer-focused and customer-centric, if I'm completely honest, as opposed to just generally commercially minded. So I mean, that's my own reflection on it. But when it's well balanced and everyone has the opportunity to be heard, that partnership is incredible, actually, and it kind of surfaces the best result. So, the concept of women in leadership, but it shouldn't actually be a concept. Like, it should actually exist. Like, it should be promoted because it's so important, and it's actually commercially viable. Like, it makes a lot of sense when you allow it. So, I mean, I'm sitting amongst two women leaders in the organization that have put me in a hot seat.
Yeah, I was about to say, you are in the hot seat. You better answer that well.
So I don't know how well I answered that, but it's the truth.
Well, we'll give you a 2, hey.
A 2 out of 2?
No, out of 5.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, Roy, thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, we are on the clock here. It's top of the hour, and it's time to head to news with Zwelibanzi Mazibuko.
Power News.
Thanks, Nomfundo and Megan. The top stories at this hour: the investigation into the murder of ANC Ward 17 councillor Sibusiso Kwela has been taken over by the KZN Political Killings Task Team. And the head of investigations and operations at IDAG, Matthew Sissoko, confirmed that the former IDAG head, Advocate Andrea Johnson, handled the Fadil Adams referral entirely on her own and never consulted him. A very good evening with your Power News at 7. My name is Zwelibanzi Mazibuko. The investigation into the murder of ANC Ward 17 councillor Sibusiso Kwela has been taken over by the KZN Political Killings Task Team. Kwela was shot and killed in Tlarwater in Durban this afternoon. According to preliminary investigations, the councillor was meeting with community members in his office when a man arrived pretending to need assistance. The councillor then stepped outside to help him before the suspect allegedly pulled out a firearm and shot him several times, subsequently resulting in his death. The South African Police Services says the PKTT is already on the ground and will lead the investigation. Here's the national spokesperson for the police, Brigadier Atlenda Mate.
Given the Political Killings Task Team's proven track record in investigating and successfully resolving politically motivated murders, the Acting National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Buleng Dimpani, has placed her full faith and confidence in the team's expertise and capabilities to thoroughly investigate this case. The PKTT will lead and coordinate the investigation, with PKTT detectives already on the ground to ensure that those responsible for the senseless murder are identified, arrested, and brought before the courts.
Meanwhile, speaking to Power News earlier this afternoon, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has described the killing of Kwela as a brutal assassination. The ANC's KZN spokesperson, Sifiso Sanjika, says the party is devastated by the loss of one of its councillors.
We are calling on the police to leave no stone unturned in bringing those who killed Councillor Kwela into book, and we are asking the communities to work with and assist the police so that the cowardice killers of Councillor Kwela are brought to book as soon as possible. We are also condemning the continuing killing of public representatives, especially as we're going towards the local government elections.
Let's shift to Pretoria, as the head of investigations and operations at IDAC, Matthew Sissoko, confirmed that former IDAC head, Advocate Andrea Johnson, handled the Fadil Adams referral entirely on her own and never consulted him. Testifying earlier before the Madanga Commission of Inquiry, Sissoko exposed, among others, unilateral decisions made by Johnson regarding the controversial crime intelligence investigations. He testified that sensitive crime intelligence cases often bypassed standard internal processes and went straight to Johnson's offices. Now this comes after Johnson initially told the Commission that operational decisions and assessments were handled collectively by officials, including Sissoko.
Are you aware that the fact that a matter was simple, whatever that means, that was a factor or a criterion that could be used not to involve other people at the initial stages of a matter or of an intake?
I'm not aware of any except for that specific matter.
So she never said, with simple matters, I will not bother you, Mr. Sissoko?
No. The decision to authorize that matter was not discussed with me, commissioners.
In Ekurhuleni, the suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi and 4 law enforcement officers arrested for the murder of businessman Emmanuel Mbenze will apply for bail next week. Mbenze was killed in April 2022 and his body was found at a dam in Duduza a day after he was taken by a group of police during a raid at his house. The state alleges that Mkhwanazi and his co-accused were involved in the kidnapping and murder. The accused made their first appearance at the Brakpan Magistrates Court earlier today, and their matter was postponed to the 13th of August for bail application. Prosecutor Nceba Mtelwa told the court that the state will oppose bail on all accused.
So it is my submission that may the court give us a postponement for us to supply the defense where it is necessary as a court decision.
And finally, cold weather conditions are expected to grab large parts of the country over the weekend, with heavy rainfall expected around Gauteng, Limpopo and Mpumalanga from Sunday up until Tuesday. That is the warning from meteorologist at Vox Weather, Michelle Du Plessis. Now, with rainfall expected to lead to flooding, Du Plessis says citizens must be cautious on the roads as well as on the rivers.
We are expecting quite significant rainfall amounts from Sunday up until Tuesday. I think besides the snow that everyone's excited about, one of the biggest risks will be flooding. So people should always look at the latest forecast and follow the official impact-based warnings by the South African Weather Service. Then motorists should avoid unnecessary travel through affected mountain passes, and they should never cross flooded roads or low water bridges.
She further urged farmers to move their livestock to safety ahead of the adverse weather, adding that citizens must also be cautious around heating devices.
Power News. Online. DSTV channel 889. You're listening to Power Business on Power 98.7. Monday to Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. Taking your calls on 0861 987 000.
Welcome back. In case you've just joined us, you're listening to Power Business 987 Woman Takeover. Nomfundo Vilakazi, the Dis-Chem People and Culture Director, and myself, the CMO of Dis-Chem, have been allowed to take over a show. Our next guest actually just said to us, I can't believe that you're just sitting there pretending to be presenters. Yes, we are Grace Harding, and we're very excited to chat to you. Please don't forget to engage with us on 0861 987 000. You can also send us your WhatsApp voice notes on 083 303 7093 or X us at Power 987 using the hashtag 987woman. We're going to a quick spot.
You're listening to 987 Women,
Celebrating incredible women of vision. This Women's Month, Power 987 proudly presents Women of Vision, a celebration of women whose leadership continues to shape business, government, society, and our nation. Join us from the 6th to the 7th of August as Women of Power take over the station. Hashtag 987 Women of Vision is proudly brought to you in partnership with the South African National Defence Force, the Department of Economic Development, Momentum, and the Department of Human Settlements. Hashtag 987 Women of Vision. Now we're talking.
Send us your voice notes on 083 303 7093.
Hi ladies, it's Nosipho Khatebe here. I just wanted to wish you both all the very best for tonight's Power Business Takeover. Having two accomplished women leading the conversation during Women's Month is something truly incredibly special. The experience and perspective you bring from your leadership roles will no doubt make for insightful and inspiring conversations. And I hope tonight reminds us all of the importance of uplifting one another, opening doors for other women, and working together to build a stronger and more prosperous South Africa. I can't wait to hear what you have lined up for us, and I wish I could be there with you, but I'll definitely be tuning in this evening. Have an amazing show, enjoy every moment, and happy Women's Month.
That was such a cool voice note and such a surprise because we didn't know we'd get a voice note for Nosipho. If you are listening right now, which I guess you are, I hope we are not ruining your show, and I hope you're really enjoying it with us. We are joined this evening by Grace Harding, the CEO of Ocean Basket. We are so excited to chat to her. And just before we chat to Grace on Nosipho's voice notes, I wanted to say that, you know, Nomfundo, who's our People and Culture Director, and I'm the CMO and marketing, the reason we also have such a cool partnership is marketing and people and culture partner very closely.
Yep.
And often when we go to a meeting together, people are like, why is the people and culture director and like the marketing person together in this meeting? And it's because like they go together, like people, brand, marketing, these things have to sit together. And also, like women in partnership, like Nomfundo always speaks about taking other people to the top with you. And, you know, she does that so well, and she mentors young people, and she's so fair, and she holds the rest of us accountable to the highest of standards. So I just wanted to shout out to my co-host about that.
Megs,
and
love
then
it. Thank you.
welcome Grace Harding, the CEO of Ocean Basket. How are you this evening?
Hi, I'm cool, thank you. I can't believe that there's corporate professionals hosting a radio show. Power FM is very brave.
I
but
said
this
the
is
same
super
thing.
cool, man. Yeah.
How fun. I also told them they're very brave to let us take over a show. Grace, you
Very
corrected
slick.
me when you walked in. You said, what are you introducing me as? A CEO. I was told that is not your correct title. So before we get into it, please tell us a little bit about what is your title? And sorry I got it wrong. I'm quite embarrassed now.
Okay, first of all, you know you must never say sorry.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. So the sorry's overused. I think the new world is going into a place where so much is going to change. Language is going to change. Sorry is overused, so it's actually insincere. And in fact, even if I fall down the stairs, someone tells me sorry, and I often say, well, unless you pushed me, I don't know why you're sorry. So my background is people. I studied personnel management in 1987. I don't even think you were born. And my whole life has been about understanding how to build high performance. And I've always believed that one of the obstacles to high performance is hierarchy. And in the beginning, when I was younger, I was just classified as a crazy rebel. But now it looks like maybe it's relevant. So, quick story. We are moving into the digital age, out of the industrial age. It's like when we stopped riding horses, we started riding cars. I don't know how many of you still carry saddles in your car. You probably don't.
No.
The transition from the one mode of transport to the other took about 30 years because things take time to change. The world is moving so fast. We don't have 30 years, and the digital age is here. There are driverless cars. There's all sorts of things happening. So I was thinking a while ago, after reading a wonderful book, everyone write this down, The Octopus Organization. It is probably the best book I've read in 5 years, and I've read them all, from Tom Peters to Peter Drucker, but those are the old people. The Octopus Organization. And the Octopus Organization talks about that nobody should be on top of anybody. So I don't know how many of you listening are leaders, and how many of you say that I have 14 people working under me. So if they are under you, I would like to know, are they under the ground? Or where are they? Under the table? I'm not sure where they are. Linked to that is my belief, based on just working a long time and really being sincerely connected to humans, is that to drive new stuff, you've got to let go of some of the old stuff, and that includes language. And I think words like EXCO versus group leadership team have huge meaning. Obviously, the behavior has to change. It can't just be a nice new word. But I ran a workshop, in fact, today, because I run workshops with my colleagues. And I said to them, why do you think I changed the name? And the one guy said, group leadership team sounds more accessible. And EXCO sounds like it's not accessible. So I don't know what an EXCO is, or an executive. An executive is a meaningless word. It's not a verb. It doesn't demonstrate a task. So I thought, well, if I'm cancelling EXCO, I must also cancel CEO. So I cancelled that, and thank goodness I work for amazing founders who let me be weird. So I am now the group leader. Now people know what I do. It's like when you meet people in aeroplanes and they say, what do you do? And I always say, well, I lead, I solve problems, I remove obstacles. Sometimes I shout. And then they look at me and I say, but do you want to know what I do, or do you want to know my title? So that's a very long story to say. Titles don't maketh the man. No one is on top of you and no one is under you.
Oh no, I absolutely love that, and I think that is such a modern way to view it. And people don't realize also words are so important. So that idea that you just said around group leadership, not an EXCO. Like I love language. I mean, I came from media and communications, and I really love language. And language that we use is so important. So Nomfundo, we may need to have a few conversations. I do quite like that
with the leader.
So one of the reasons we also wanted to chat to you, besides the fact that you are incredibly cool, we think you're a super real person. We love your content because it makes us all really smile, because you are so real. It's also about culture. Like, we know that Ocean Basket and the way that you kind of do things, you have a very, very rich culture. And we wanted to understand a bit about how you view that as a business advantage. What are some of the things that you do differently?
I don't know. Oh, that's another word I don't like. Different. I'm becoming very weird with words. Because everyone wants to be different, but what is different?
What do you do that
so
works
the
well?
Founder, I can tell you a lot of things also that don't work well. The founder, I think, embedded a lot of the roots of the culture. And these founders don't do it consciously. I mean, they're not phoning consultants and paying money for this. The brand was born with a mindset of democratizing seafood, and it was born in 95, in the year of democracy, which is incredible. And the guy who started it, Fats Lazaridis, and his brother George, they came from quite a working class family. They lived in a one-bedroom apartment with their parents. The father was actually a carpenter. And the business was always built that way. It's always been a PTY. They've never had an EXCO. But when I joined and I started creating structure, I started calling it EXCO. They never had an EXCO. They just had these people who led the business. I mean, they were a bit wild. I mean, in 2012, they were still smoking cigarettes in the office. So I think when I joined, and I joined in the people space, so I'm sort of a non-HR people person.
What's HR?
But that's, I'm talking about the words people know. Humans are not resources. Yes, okay, yes. Right. Humans are humans. When I joined, it just all connected, because I've always been a rebel, and I've always battled to understand the benefit for business to have bigger chairs for certain people and smaller chairs for other people, and all of the artifacts. And people will then spend millions doing culture audits, but it is the artifacts and the layers that they build that prevent the messages from traveling. So it all resonated with me, and we started working together. It took me years to learn the business. I wasn't like an instant CEO. I'm not 2-minute noodles. It took a long time for me to learn, really did. And it's about the behaviors, the language, and what you accept and what you don't tolerate. And it's got to be connected to the brand. So Ocean Basket's brand is to democratize seafood. Equality for everyone. Why shouldn't someone who earns 15,000 Rand a month not be able to eat prawns? And you can go to Ocean Basket and have prawns and stuff for $99. So that's embedded in it. And then that came through the culture. So if you fly with The founder, when I first flew with him, I didn't sit in economy and him in business. And when I worked at Edgar's, I went away with a director and I flew in economy, and I thought it was rude. I really did. It irritated me that. So it's embedded in the business. It's also a small brand relative. I think if I look at Dis-Chem, you're massive. You've got 22,000 people, I heard. I mean, I wouldn't sleep at night. And our
Fundo sleeps well.
Our restaurants are franchise owned, so it's even a bigger challenge, because the first cultural sort of channel besides our own in the brand offices is to get people who aren't employed or not part of us, but they are part of us, to become part of us, but they're not really.
Yeah, so that is a challenge, because it's like stakeholders, entrepreneurs, etc. How do you still get that kind of embodiment? What are some of the ways you do actually do that because they are franchisees? How do you get that culture to kind of permeate that you want?
It's very difficult. I think we call it alignment. And the way to get people to kind of listen to what you have to say is you've got to care about what they have to say first. And I think what tends to happen in leadership and in franchising, a franchisor is in charge, or a leader is the boss of, and we've got to break all that down, and we have to say, cool, what do you care about and what matters to you? And once I understand that, then I've got to find ways to make what matters to me connect with what matters to you. And sometimes it is oil and water, and then you just got to shout.
Sure.
And shouting is fine.
That's so powerful.
You've just got to shout. Well, I don't know about the you've just got to shout, but the one thing before I'm going to ask you a question, I just wanted to say, when you said about like essentially like listening, that's something that we found like so meaningful. Like we always start with listening before we do anything else. And that is super, super powerful. Listening and partnership.
Yeah, and I mean, as we're talking about culture, it is time for us to take a bit of a song break. And maybe before we go there, the song for me is so special because I think it reminds me, and to Grace's point around seeing people listening, that I am someone's daughter, I am someone's mother, I belong to a community, and I hope the song that is playing now is going to resonate, with someone out there that's still trying to understand or define who they are. Nizalwa ngobani.
The world changes, revolutionaries die, and the children forget. The ghetto is our first love, and our dreams are drenched in gold. We don't even cry. We don't even cry about it no more. Are the beautiful ones really dead? Nizilibe luba nizala ngoba, nizala ngoba, nizilibe luba nizala ngoba nina, nizala ngoba, nizilibe luba nizala ngoba, nizala ngoba, nizilibe luba nizala ngoba nina, nizala ngoba zona. It's children forget. Children forget. Ghetto is our first love, and our dreams are drenched in gold. We don't even cry. We don't even cry. We don't even cry. We don't even cry about it no more. We don't even cry. We don't even cry. The beautiful ones, a rainy
That was Thandiswa Mazwai Nizalwa Ngobani. You're still listening to Power Business 987 Women Edition.
That's awesome. And please remember, we really want you to get in touch with us. You can win a 1,000 Rand Dis-Chem voucher. But in order to win the voucher, when you call in, we want to know what you've learned, what you've heard, and what's really, really resonated with you. Remember to dial 0861 987 000 and you could stand a chance to win. It looks like we have Rami on the line. Let's listen to Rami. Hello, Rami.
Hey, Megs. Hey, Nomfundo.
Sorry, who's this caller?
It's someone we know, because you know Rami, I saw this name and I knew this must be Rami who works with us. That is very sweet, but he can't win the competition. But you're allowed to give us a shout out.
Yes, definitely. I just want to say shout out to both of you, Nomfundo and Megs. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys are here. I actually had a question. Because I work with you guys, pretty closely. I just wanted to know, what do you guys think is the secret sauce to partnerships, and what makes partnerships work, in case other people want to know and how they can implement it in their organizations? What is your guys' secret sauce?
Look, Rami, that is a very difficult question, Jokes. I think it's all about connections, and if you think about it, it's one of the themes we hold true in this period or in this year in our organization. If you are intentional about wanting to do something and connect more broadly around the vision, common beliefs and threads, I think that's what truly makes great partnerships to really stand out. And also being able to dance to the same tune and music that brings commonality amongst individuals, that would be one of those sources that I would say you need to consider.
Awesome. We're going to say bye, Rami. Thank you so much for calling in. Rami is very talented, wonderful, and shout out right back to you, one of the most wonderful young people we get to work with. Grace, we are going to have to wrap up our conversation really, really shortly, but you're so wise, and so I thought instead of asking you a question, we would love to know if you had anything to leave people with this Women's Day around partnership, around connection, around people. What would that be that you'd want to leave listeners with?
It's not about you. If you are curious about the other person, even when you're angry, to be curious about what went wrong. I think if you lead with that lens, there's more sincerity, because we've been hearing for 100 years, partnership, listening, all of those things. The core of that is to truly believe this is not about me. It's about what I need to hear so that I can add value. And the last thing, which is more important, is to always wear lipstick and be humble.
I love
Over
that.
and out.
And I do not have lipstick on, and now I'm super, super embarrassed. Thank you so much, Grace. It was so nice of you to grace us with your presence.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so, so much. Cool. Nomfundo.
It's hits 9:30, and it's time for us to go to the news with Zweli Banzi Mazibuko.
Thank you, Nomfundo and Megan. A very good evening. In news-making headlines at this hour, the investigation into the murder of ANC's Ward 17 councillor in eThekwini, Sibusiso Kwela, has been taken over by the KZN Political Killings Task Team. Kwela was shot and killed in Tlarwater in the west of Durban earlier this afternoon. According to preliminary investigations, the councillor was meeting with community members in his office when a man arrived pretending to need assistance.
Given the Political Killings Task Team's proven track record in investigating and successfully resolving politically motivated matters, the Acting National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Buleng Dimpani, has placed her full faith and confidence in the team's expertise and capabilities to thoroughly investigate this case. The PKTT will lead and coordinate the investigation with PKTT detectives already on the ground to ensure that those responsible for the senseless murder are identified, arrested, and brought before the courts.
That was the National Police spokesperson, Brigadier Atlenda Mate. In other news, UK businessmen Michael Lomas and Hudson Khomoeswana have pleaded guilty to corruption-related charges linked to the multi-billion rand Kusile power station project. Lomas pleaded guilty to 34 counts of corruption involving more than 2.6 million rand in payments made between 2015 and 2017 to influence the awarding of contracts. And finally, the South African Transport and Allied Workers Union says it will serve the ports regulator of South Africa with a 48-hour strike notice. This after wage negotiations reached a deadlock. SATAW rejected the employer's offer of a 7% across-the-board wage increase, saying it does not include a housing allowance or annual bonuses.
The employer has agreed on 7% wage increment across the board. The dispute here is mainly on the issue of reinstatement and adjustment of bonuses, as well as introduction of housing allowance. These demands are as valid and important as wage increment. Workers should not be intimidated by the employer. A certificate of non-resolution has been issued by the commissioner at the CCMA. The strike is legal, the strike is protected. If the state-owned prefers to negotiate on the streets, we will give them what they want.
That's my time for today. However, Letabo Mashapa will have more on these and other stories at 8 o'clock.
I'm honored to be part of this year's 987 Women lineup. Join me on the 6th of August on Power Perspective from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. as 987 Women of Vision take over the Power airwaves. You should listen to the show because I will be in conversation with incredibly inspirational women in the health and wellness space. You don't want to miss this.
The wait is over.
This Women's Month, Power 987 celebrates extraordinary women leaders in society.
The 2026 987 Women of Vision. Now we're talking.
Don't worry, bro. That noise just means the engine is purring like a lion.
It's not a purr, man. Your clutch is slipping. Pull into Goldwagen right now.
Goldwagen? For Nissan?
Yes, they supply precision-engineered Schaeffler clutches, wheel bearings and timing kits for Ford, Hyundai, Nissan and more.
Wow. What about Toyotas and Suzuki's?
Goldwagen has quality vehicle parts for every brand.
Okay, I'm going.
Goldwagen. Keep on driving.
In faster than you think. That heater may keep you warm, but it can also make you drowsy. Crack a window. Take your rest breaks seriously. Stay fresh, stay focused, because when you're behind the wheel of a heavy vehicle, fatigue doesn't just risk your life, it risks everyone's. So stay alert, stay visible, and stay safe. This message is brought to you by the National Department of Transport.
All across Tshwane, Johannesburg, Davao, Soweto, and Ekurhuleni. This is Power 98.7. Now we're talking.
Welcome back to Power Business 987 Women Edition. This is a takeover show, so if you've just joined us, I am Megan de Vrug, the Dis-Chem CEO. I'm co-hosting with Nomfundo Vilakazi, the People and Culture Director from Dis-Chem. And we have taken over Nosipo's show. We are not coming for a job, though. We are clearly not professionals, but we are having a lot of fun tonight. We have a caller on the line. Earlier we said if you listen to Nuggets and you could tell us a bit about what you learned, you could potentially win a voucher from Dis-Chem. We've got Marcella from Mamelodi on the line. Marcella from Mamelodi, hello.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
So good, and you?
Great. Happy Women's Month.
Oh, thank you.
You guys rocks. One, there must be a sincere apology from your group leader who said, I can't believe you guys are sitting there pretending to be radio presenters.
No, we must have conversations about that. We are pretending, but it's
Don't
okay.
worry, we'll deal with him that one.
You guys are doing so well. I mean, we're really enjoying. I can't even get into the house because of the kids are loud. I'm still in my car listening. I'm really enjoying.
Sure.
From the first guest to the second one, I had the group leader of Ocean Baskets. She wants to rewrite the whole dictionary there.
Yep.
And
I love it.
one of the things that she said that stood out is that no one should be above you, or you must never say you are above somebody else, or you've got 19 people under me. You see, because of the minute you start treating your workers like that, they're not going to produce the best. But when you make them feel like they're the shareholders or they're part of the family, you are going to bring the best out of them. And in terms of service delivery, you'll be out of this world. Two, the service, customer service that you guys mentioned before, in terms of this game, it's not just a lip service, because we are seeing it in each and every discount we walk into. All discounts are the same. You walk into this one, professionalism, smile, respect. You know, even when we're having a bad day, they will put a smile on your face. That's what we love. And two presenters, you rock this. I wish Power FM can do this every month, not just on Women's Month. We really enjoyed.
Oh, Marcelo, this is literally just made Nomfundo and my Women's Month. I think if you
Literally.
could see the smile on Nomfundo's face, that is so kind and so lovely. Thanks for picking up those nuggets. I couldn't agree with Grace more that, you know, when people say people under me or anything like that, it's about a team, right? It's like I work with 19 people on my team. There are 19 people on my team, and your job as a leader is really to make sure that everyone can be the best versions of themselves. I mean, that's ultimately what you're doing. And I think that you really listen to the nuggets. You definitely win the 1,000 Rand Dis-Chem voucher. You must please stay on the line so that the producer can take your details. You're obviously a Dis-Chem customer. I don't have to ask you that because you've described our customer service. So thank you so much, Marcelo. We really appreciate that call. Thank you. Cool. Let's take a quick spot.
I'm honored to be part of this year's 987 Women Wine. Join me on the 6th of August on Power Perspective from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. as 987 Women of Vision take over the Power airwaves. You should listen to the show because I will be in conversation with incredibly inspirational women in the health and wellness space. Your business.
The wait is over.
This Women's Month, Power 987 celebrates extraordinary women leaders in society.
The 2026 987 Women of Vision. Now we're talking. The station for news and talk. Power 98.7 on 103.6 in the south of Johannesburg, 104.4 in the Vaal, and 107.2 in Ekurhuleni. Now we're talking.
Welcome back to Power Business 987 Women Edition. It's the takeover show. We're so happy to have heard from Marcela. I hope you've gotten out the car and back to your kids because we don't want you to listen to us all night if you have to get to your kids. We have an amazing guest in studio. We have Bronwyn Williams, who is a futurist, an economist, business trends analyst, and a global keynote speaker and author of Surviving the AI Apocalypse. Because what would a takeover show be if we did not discuss AI, we did not discuss the apocalypse people think is coming and the worry around AI, the future of work? How do we partner? So welcome, Bronwyn.
Thank you very much.
Bronwyn, let's jump into it. I mean, we speak about AI, and I mean, I must be honest. Speaking from the people space, like there are concerns, like people are worried. Can you just give us some guidance? Should we be worried? Like, should we fear what AI is about to produce?
Well, the metaphor I like to use to describe what is happening, the lived reality of what is happening when it comes to the world of work and artificial intelligence, is you can think of this great global game of like musical chairs, you know, the game you used to play when you were kids. And there have been a few chairs that have been taken away. Now, some of those chairs have been taken away from the most privileged children at the party, and we don't have to lose too many tears over them. We can talk about that. But some of those chairs have been pulled away from people who were barely hanging on to start with.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that you're talking about this from the perspective of like the women's takeover here. There are some really disturbing trends when it comes to what AI is doing to women at work. I think one of my unfavorite sort of data points is that if women admit to using AI in the workplace, they are seen as being lazy or unintelligent or, you know, slacking or incompetent. Whereas if men do it, they're seen as being efficient in terms of the eyes of their supervisors and their colleagues. So that's, of course, one point that we should be really aware of. And the other one that's specifically related to women and work, which is why we should be concerned about some of those chairs that have been removed from the game, is that it's effectively stripping the chairs from experienced women in the workplace. We have seen time and time again with various different studies and experiments that individuals and academics have done that women, particularly experienced women over the age of 40, have this baked in bias when it comes to the screening bots that determine who gets seen, never mind hired or selected for jobs. And of course, you can see this if you go onto social media. It's like, what's happening to us? I've got all this experience. Why can't I get a foot in the door? And that's because a lot of these systems perpetuate a lot of the bias that we have. But again, we can come back to those other chairs that have been taken away from the privileged kids, which is the center of the book that Sharon Pierce and myself wrote. And that is all about how, on the positive side, AI is a reckoning when it comes to value, because what do smart businesses do? Let's face it, Dis-Chem is a business. All of us work in businesses. We want to be profitable. What do we do to be profitable? We try and cut costs and enhance value. And what we find is there's a separating effect that many jobs that exist in the workplace across the spectrum, from well-paid ones to not so well-paid ones, are effectively cost centers that AI can and in fact should replace. But on the other hand, there are a whole lot of really good jobs that cannot be replaced because they are value-creating jobs. So whether you are a woman facing this issue and the fact that there is bias and problems and unfairness in the world, or whether you are a worker that feels undervalued, whatever the case is, the good news is focus on the value. If you are in a function that is adding value to your end customer, to your boss, the whole AI revolution is actually good for you. But if you are in a role that is extracting value from your value chain rather than adding to it, you're a grudge purchase, your customer doesn't want to pay you anything, your boss resents paying your salary. And I know you ladies work with the people and culture side. You know there's some of those functions out there.
What are you talking
and yes,
about?
it can be quite uncomfortable, but you should be frightened. So yes, we have both a positive and a really scary side to this AI and work story.
I mean, you said it, right? The phrase human-centered AI is used most frequently. So what does it actually look like in practice, and how can organizations ensure that people remain at the center of those tech changes?
Okay, well, again, you need to understand that artificial intelligence is a buzzy word, but what it really talks about is productivity tools. And what do productivity tools always do? They do those things that I've spoken about. They reduce costs and they enhance value. They amplify the patterns that we already have. So again, if you are in a role or in a function that is a value suck, not a value add, you need to shift what you're doing very, very quickly. Whereas if you are in a role that is adding value, these tools can help you add more value. Again, like Sharon and I write in the book, where organizations and individuals make mistakes is they use these tools to perpetuate bad ideas and to make mistakes now at scale, whereas the other way to use it is to use these tools to perpetuate value at scale. So it's this massive separating effect, like the ABBA song where the winners sort of take it all and the losers fall very, very, very hard. This is what AI is doing. It's forcing us to confront whether we're on the value or the cost side, because if you're on the cost side, you're losing money, you're losing value, you're losing your marketplace as an employee or as an organization really fast. But if you're on the other side, you are winning really, really big. And you can see that in terms of companies and the AI adoption.
Yeah.
We see these statistics that say, oh, where have all the jobs gone? Well, that's because lots of companies are adopting this badly. They're adopting it to perpetuate nonsense work instead of perpetuate value.
Sure.
And you also see that showing up in statistics where economists are saying, where's the sort of productivity? Oh, you look into it. 80% of companies that adopt AI, approximately, are losing money from it, but 20% are gaining huge amounts of value.
Yeah.
It depends what you're doing. Are you doing it right? Or are you doing it wrong? Are you using it to enhance or diminish?
Completely. And I find that many organizations are rushing to adopt AI because they fear being left behind. And how do you think businesses can strike that balance between moving quickly and implementing AI reasonably?
Okay, so again, I am a futurist, so I do have a bias in that, and my whole profession is based on asking people to slow down, stop, and think before you make decisions, proactively in terms of anticipation rather than mitigation, right? And that's, of course, hugely challenging right now when everybody is running forward and you feel like if you're not running forward, you are losing ground. You have to do something. Actually, sometimes it's okay to not be an early adopter. If you're not the person who invented this technology, everybody else is facing the same problems. If you can just be a smart sort of first follower, if it's not your core area of expertise, you're going to be much better set up to adopt this. So slow down, think more strategically about what you're applying and where you're applying, so you don't end up applying technologies to fail faster. Instead, take that little bit of time, that little bit of sense check that you are automating the right things in the right way. Might feel like you're getting behind now, but like the tortoise and the hare, you know, the old fable, you know, the tortoise catches up because the hare's made some mistakes.
Eventually,
so
right?
in general, we definitely see with our corporate clients that more people are at risk of, as Sharon writes about, regretty spaghetti than they are about actually being left behind. So you have to move forward, but you know, extra planning at the beginning can save you a lot of trouble a little bit further down the line.
And it would be a bit unfair if I didn't ask this question, right, as the people's person. Skills are evolving, so if I was an individual right now, like what skills should I be investing in? What capabilities should I be pulling out of my pocket here and getting myself ready?
Okay, I'm really glad that you asked that. That is, in fact, the center of the work that Sharon and I do. And a lot of it is shifting our focus away from skills and jobs. And this is important to sort of separate in our minds, to focus on, as you mentioned, capabilities. So that is really, really important. A capability can be applied in multiple different contexts. A skill and a job might tie you to a particular, as we sort of talk about those little boxes, your job description, which is for us becoming an older and older fashioned idea. Even if you take something, and this is always the clearest way to put that example into practice, is your frontline workers, who many of whom are very worried about AI, and quite frankly, as a customer of some of South Africa's biggest banks, I would say should be worried about their jobs. And then we're talking about those customer service staff. If your customer service staff, their skill is following a script and not deviating from it, and the manager is managing them on that, their value doesn't exist beyond what a robot could do. Your customer services person value lies in their capability to be able to actually solve a customer's problem, which will never be found within the exact script. It will never be found within the computer program. It will be only found within their initiative. So there is a clear distinction between a capability to solve a problem and a skill which has been trained on a particular program or process. So this is a very different shift. All of us went to university. The way we recruit, the way you probably still manage your teams is based on the ability to follow a job description. But that very same ability to follow a job description with a definable, as we call it, legible skill set makes you vulnerable to augmentation. In fact, if your job is fully legible, just like that customer service person that just follows the script, that can be automated and should be automated from a cost perspective. So your capabilities have to be out of the box. Your capability is the ability at its smallest and simplest sort of definition is to solve a problem in context, in an evolving context, in multiple different ways. So the sorts of, then to go back to it, the skills or capabilities you should be investing in if you're a parent, if you're a young person, if you're a midlife female worker who's about to be screened out of the job market wholesale based on the way these AI screening systems work, that if you were rejected from one job, your same profile is rejected through Workday system across like every other employer in the planet. No, you got to focus on the capabilities, which is that ability to solve problems in context, and those sorts of problems that are always going to be the same, that can be applied in multiple contexts, include the good old things of communicating, selling, leading, persuading, and manipulating people's emotions. I mean, this is what marketers and advertisers do.
Don't.
Right?
On that note, you are not allowed to slay marketing. I'm not saying that's true. Guys, we're going to need to take a quick break, but as soon as we get back, we'll talk more on AI and partnerships. I'm sure everyone's as fascinated as I am.
With a complete view of your finances, Nedbank Private brings every aspect of your financial life together to create solutions tailored to your evolving needs. From private banking and lending to long-term financial planning and wealth management, Nedbank Private supports you at every stage of your financial journey. While others see only part of you, we see all of you. See money differently. Nedbank Private. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The total number of lotto winners to date is 1,886,946. And the total prize money won is over 149 million rand. So what must you do with this information? Inspire yourself and play the lotto. It's still just 5 rand. Get the light on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9 p.m. National Lottery. No age, no chance, no relax. Players must be 18 years old. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is operated by Sizakai.
Power 98.7 has signed a code of conduct enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under this code, we are committed to broadcast news that is accurate, comment that is fair, programming that is not harmful to children, and contains no gratuitous violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, you may inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa by directing any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more information, please visit bccsa.co.za.
Power Business, 6 to 8 p.m.
Welcome back to Power Business 987 Women Edition. Nomfundo and Megan have been DJ Megs and Nomfundo this evening, taking over the mic on this takeover edition. We are chatting all things AI and partnership, and we're getting sad because we're nearly ready to wrap up the show.
I want to leave. Bronwyn, if we fast, like the conversation has been very interesting, and I just told you that I've never had anybody explain AI the way that you've explained it, so thank you, I understand. Now I know what tickets and capabilities to put in my box. If we fast forward 5 years, how do you see the relationship between people and AI evolving, and what kind of workplace do you think it will be operating in?
Yes, I think the main thing that we'll see within 5 years' time is that these sorts of conversations will feel very, very old-fashioned. AI will very quickly become the water we swim in, just like operating systems like, God forbid, things like Microsoft Teams are now just part of life. Whereas remember, they didn't exist before COVID, and then we were all like, oh, now it's just Tuesday. Now we have to live on the thing, even though it didn't exist just 5 years ago. Yes, they're being integrated. And even people now who say they don't use AI probably don't call it that, but are probably using it in some sort of a way. Whether you're using it to make your formulas in Excel just a little bit easier, or whether you're using it to create the images for your newsletter that you used to have to pay someone to do. These are things that people will just be doing. And as such, a lot of those industries at the edge, and also independent contractors at the edge, will have to pivot themselves and to land themselves into those value-focused roles rather than those cost-center roles. So what will happen within the next 5 years is that a round of musical chairs, the music will have stopped. Everybody would have had to get up and dance, and some people will find themselves in an entirely new place. Other people will find themselves maybe without a role, and that's the sort of more frightening, sad reality. You've got to position yourself now to make sure that you get a chair at this point in time, and you sort of claim it, really fast. But I think also the other big thing that will happen by 5 years' time is we would have had our .com kind of boom and bust cycle of AI. Let's separate two things. On the one hand, we are in a hype cycle. As we said, companies are all rushing in. Everyone has got to do it. Everyone's going to be an AI first business. All VCs are funding AI first companies. And yes, we are spending too much money without thinking because they don't hire futurists like me. So lots of people will spend money badly, and there will be stock market movements, and there will be a lot of, holier than thou people that will get on radios, programs like this saying, see, AI was all just a bubble and nonsense. But the tide's going to wash out and the stuff will still stick. Remember when we all it was a lot of crowing about, pets.com during the .com bubble. Oh no, this clearly shows the internet was just a blip in the pan. Not at all. If you had betted against the internet, you have been very, very wrong. So let's separate the hype, and we will be past the peak of the hype cycle in 5 years' time. But by that time, some stuff would have stuck around, even if the label isn't sticking to it. And that's the contention of why we're saying everybody's got to prepare right now. Make sure you get on your chair, define your value, and understand that the role that you are in as an employee, a contractor, a business is defensible ground.
I think like something that resonates with me in this conversation is often people will say, everyone's sitting around the table. They're talking about AI. They're so worried, and kind of I always have the same response without being as articulate as you are in this topic. And I always say, well, you have two choices. You're either going to sit around and worry about it. Oh no, it's going to take jobs. It's going to whatever. And you're going to worry about it. And the worrying about it won't really do much. Or you can say, let me find out where this is all going. Let me understand. The way you described, at the end of the day, jobs are a set of tasks. You're doing those tasks. Start to understand which tasks will be for AI, exactly how you've described it. But don't worry about it. Look at what's coming. Because otherwise you just worry about the AI apocalypse, and that's not going to help.
No. Assess your capabilities and see how you can apply them in a new context. You've got a bit of time to do that. But I'd say by 5 years' time, it'll probably be too late.
Oh, thank you so much, Bronwyn. This has been so insightful. And I think, Nomfundo, we've had such a great evening chatting to...
I don't want to go.
We had our CEO, just for everyone who only joined at the end, which was really fun. For a change, we got to interview him and sort of grill him, which was really, really fun. I think... I personally have learned a lot. I'm sure Nomfundo will share her reflections. But I think the biggest thing that I'm sort of taking away from the show is this idea of partnership, right? Trust, listening, respect, and also the power of words. I loved what Grace said. Like that idea of don't talk about yourself as on top of anyone or I have X amount of people working under me. Like I thought that was really, really powerful because you have to be a team player, partnership. Collaboration. So thank you, co-host.
Thank you, Megan. I mean, thank you for inviting me. I mean, I enjoyed the past 2 hours. And I think also what Bronwyn shared just shed some light in terms of where we're seeing businesses going and how do we get our teams, our employees, our people ready, right? Because I talk about it from a people perspective, but there's mom at home, there's dad at home, there's sister at home that also needs to understand what this means. So I've enjoyed that. Thank you. Megan, you've been so amazing, as you are every single day. So thank you for continuing to be my partner. I would not be me if I didn't say a big shout out to all the 22,000 employees of Dis-Chem. Our heroes, love you.
Shout out green-hearted people, all 22,000. And it's the reason Nomfundo and I partner because we love people. And guys, we thought we'd close out before the news. We are going to play a song. We want to play Katy Perry, Firework, because baby, you're a firework.